The next topic we'll see is reduction of ER diagrams to tables. Now, how do you construct tables? Now, tables, they are created, or we say reduced, from ER diagrams. You will be having an ER diagram which will look something like this. Okay, you will have an ER diagram which will be having entities, it will be having attributes. Okay, we'll be having many kind of attributes. Now, it is from this ER diagram that you will be making the structure of your table. How many tables should be there? Okay, which will be the primary key? Which will be the foreign key? Okay, which all will be the attributes? Now, all this is decided with the help of your ER diagram. Now, what we will see today is how do you make tables from your ER diagram. Now, before we go into that, we will quickly learn about what do you mean by a strong entity. You very well know what is an entity. You know what is an entity. We'll just see very quickly what do you mean by a strong entity. In very simple terms, an entity where a primary key is easily identifiable. You say it to be a strong entity. So all what we have seen till now is strong entities because you were easily able to identify primary keys from that particular entity. So you say all those which we saw till now are strong entities. Now, first we will see how do you make tables for strong entities. Now, all these rules you should be following. All entities, they will become a table. Okay, so now let's look here. I do have an entity called student where I do have student roll number. You can write together with me. Have this entity. I have student roll number. I have student name. I have student name. And then what else did we have? We did have here student phone number, which was multi-valued. Then we did have student address, which had many other fields like a house number, street number, pin code. Okay, and then we did have a date of birth, and then we did have a derived attribute age. So let's first talk about an entity like this. It has almost every kind of an attribute. You have simple attributes, you have multi-valued attributes, phone number, address is composite, age is derived. And we even know that you can be easily identifying this. So that is the student roll number, which is the primary key. Now, when you build up a table, every entity becomes a table. Okay, so which means the student, that will be your table name. Okay, so I will have a table called student. Okay, all my single valued attributes, they will become a column. Okay, so I'll just elongate my table later. As of now, I have roll number, that is my primary key. Then what do I have? I do have my student name. I even have my date of birth. So I'm done with this. I'm done with this. I am done with this. Okay, now let's think about the other things. Phone number is pending, address is pending, and even my age is pending. So all my simple attributes or my single valued attributes, they will become individual columns. The key attribute that will become my primary key. So, we have done with this much. We do have 3 things pending. Now, for that, you will be having a different set of rules. Okay. Multi-valued attribute is represented by a separate table. Okay. So as of now, I just have my table over here, student, with student number, student name, and date of birth. I've not included anything else. Just this much. Table will continue. As of now, I have marked only this much. If you remember, your student, it has phone number, which is multi-value. You can have more than one phone number in your details. You will have a mobile number, you will have a landline number, and so on. So, if you have such an attribute, you cannot include it over here. Because, if you think about a student called S1, he will have a name, let's say A, date of birth something, and a mobile number, let's say 901. He will even have another number. The same student with the same name, with the same date of birth, he will have a second phone number called 902. But look here, you have told the student number is the primary key. Student number is the primary key means S1 cannot repeat. So, you will not be able to show this attribute in your table. Because, as per rule, student number, you have already told it is the primary key, which means that it is unique, it cannot repeat. So, what you should be doing is, if you have a multi-valued attribute, don't worry, just create another table. Okay, create another table, let's say, student phone numbers. Okay, and the fields will be, what is the primary key over here? Student number. The first field will be the primary key of the parent table. My parent table is over here, student. So my first value will be the primary key of my parent table. And the second field will be nothing but phone number. So I will have an S1 over here, I will have an S2 over here, I will have an S3. All these are unique primary key. Now let's come back. Student called S1. My earlier case, I have a phone number called 901. Student 1, he has another phone number called 902. Student 1, he does have another phone number also 903. But the student 2, he's a poor guy, he has only one phone number 301. Student 3, let's say he has 801. He has even 802. Let's imagine such a case. Now, you need a primary key for the table. Tables can never exist without primary key. You cannot have S1 alone as the primary key over here. Taking phone number as the primary key, that is also not sensible. So what you have to do is, here, the primary key will be a combination of 2 keys. Okay, the primary key will be a combination of the primary key of my parent table plus the new field which I am adding. Now, when the primary key is a combination of more than one key, you call it by the name composite. So this is what you do if you have multi-valued attributes. As I have written over here, multi-valued attribute is represented by a separate table. Compulsorily, you have to create a composite key. If you look over here, S1901, it is unique, it will never repeat. S1902, unique, it will never repeat. Take anything. There will be only one student called S3 who has the phone number called 801. Okay, so this is the rule you have to follow for multi-valued attribute. So these were the 3 things we had to take care of, out of which multi-valued you took care of. Multi-valued, what you did was you created a new table and then you even created a composite key. Now let's see about this composite. You have address over here. Huh? You have address over here, which is split up into many things. And now you do have this table called student. You haven't finished constructing it. You just have the student roll number, student name, student date of birth. These are the only things you have done. Okay. Now let's see. Address. If you have these kind of composite attributes, please do not create a new table for that. It can be accommodated into your old table itself, the original table itself. So what you can do is, there are two ways in which you can do it. One thing is, you can simply write address over here, and you can write over here, house number, comma, let's say Providence, your house name, street number, comma, my pin code. You can directly have it like this. You will not go for a new table. This is one way in which you can have it. Another way in which you can have it is, what you can do is, you can write over here, house name, that will be one column, street name, that will be another column, pin code, that will be another column. You can do it however you want, but anyway, you will not be creating a new table for it. Either have this whole thing together as address, a single field, and then when you enter things, you do it with a comma, comma, comma. That is one way in which you can do it. And the other way is, you can have each of the components as single fields.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we are done with that. No new table, and have it as fields. That's it. Have it as fields. Okay, it is represented by the components. The next one is derived attribute. Okay, derived attribute, you have age as a derived attribute. Now, how do you represent derived attributes? Now, look here, derived attribute, it is actually obtainable from date of birth. So, whenever you want the age, what you can do is you can write code and do it as a calculation. So, some people, what they do is they do a foolish thing. They will add up age as another field. But age is actually a derived attribute. It is actually foolish to add derived attribute as a field of the table. So very simple, just ignore it. You need not consider it in your table. In your ER diagram, let it be there. You know that age can be derived from date of birth. Whenever you want the age, you can do it via calculation. Simply don't waste another field for age and have it as a table. So we will not have age over here. So that student entity, this is my student table. And together with my student table, I will even have one more table called student phone number, where I have the student ID and the phone number together as the primary key. And here, this is my primary key. So this is how you denote an entity.